Hello, this is Bob Cully from Delta Automation here in Richmond, Virginia. Got some questions in the past about some ModBus Plus connectors and their uses and which ones go with what. So I've got a layout here of all the different types of connectors. I'm going to go over a brief history of them and what to look out for, and just some points to look out when you're using these different connectors and what the differences are. The very first generation of connectors were these. They're called MBKTS. I don't really know what that stands for, but there's two different types. There's the gray one. It's got the D connector here. Your wires go into here. There's a special tool that goes to put those on. I'll be making another video to show how to do that. These are the inline connectors. These are the end of line or terminating connectors. They have a built-in terminator. They go in each segment of the trunk cable. That's the very first generation of connectors. The next generation of connectors was what Modicon called the T connector, because it's shaped like a T. They sometimes call them taps. They're not really taps because the trunk cable comes in, goes down a drop cable, comes back and goes back out. There's a special tool to insert the wires in these connectors here, and again I'll show that in another video. This is the drop cable that goes on that T or tap. It gets pushed into the same connectors. What's unique about this is there's two pair of twisted shielded cables in there. It's very important not to get the white cables crossed up. You'll get some crosstalk there. It's got two pair going down and a drain and a shield. Two pair coming up with a drain and a shield, and then an overall shield. So it's not exactly complex, but something to pay attention to. The next generation was what Modicon Schneider came up with called a rugged or ruggedized tap. You want to avoid these guys at all costs. They have a high insertion loss, a high impedance loss. It's a great concept. It's got these gland nuts here to capture the cables. It's got a dust cover here for the programming port. All that's really nice, but they really do disrupt communications on a network. More than one or two of these on a segment, you'll bring the network down. So avoid these if you can. Modicon also came out with a momentum type of controllers. For the momentums, they used a special connector and a cable. They appropriately called them a cluster because that's what they are. You put a couple of these together and you kind of just plug them together like this. They work great in a standalone thing with 3 or 4 little nodes. If you put that node into a bigger system, it'll crash your system. I try not to use these at all. There's some competitive connectors out here that are made by Phoenix. Phoenix makes good stuff. They made a tap to begin with. The trunk cable comes in here. The drop cable comes out here. It's got this neat little switch that lets you terminate it on the left of the segment, the right of the segment, or it stays in the middle. The bad part about this is there's no cover for that switch, so somebody's going to come along and go, what does this do? Switch it, not knowing what position it was in to begin with, and you're messed up, because if it's not in the right position, your network is down. They improved on it a little bit with this one. They have a programming connector that you could plug in an RJ45. Again, your trunk comes in and out here, your drop cable comes out here. They have a little shield on the switch that flips back and forth, so once it's in position, you screw it in place, you can't move it. That's an improvement. Don't use any of these programming connectors. Sometimes they stick in the open position. Again, your network goes down. The final version is what Modicon calls their Super Tap. And it normally has this cover on it. It comes in either a DIN rail or a chassis mount. Good thing about it, you can disconnect the drop cable with this plug. You can bypass the drop cable, because with these others, if the drop cable is not in place, then the system is open. You can actually short or bypass this without a connector, without the drop cable on it, and that makes that pretty good for troubleshooting. The trunk cables are attached to connectors. They come in and out. You know, that makes them a lot easier to replace and everything. It too has a programming connector. I still would advise not using that. The only bad thing about these guys is Modicon's pretty proud of them. They're pretty expensive. But anyway, that's an overall view of everything that you can use on the ModBus Plus Legacy Communication Network. And like I said, I'll be coming out with some other videos showing how to put these connectors on and what to look out for when you're doing that. If you have any other questions, please feel free to give us a call here at Delta Automation in Richmond, 804-236-2800. And thank you for watching the video.